and also sitting in the corridors of power, my friends. That is, my friend, what I'm speaking here. Let me continue to read. It says here, the worker was a loyal and dedicated employee with an unblemished record. No complaints about a lady in 10 years in the European, my friend. Unblemished record. Listen, man. You know what is that? Of service who was unfairly targeted and victimized because of her attendance in a prayer meeting for a PNM local government candidate. My friend, you hear what is written in this court case? What the case is about? The union is saying this, that Rudy Indar Singh, who was the Minister of Works at the time, on a Sunday night, fired this lady from her work. She has an unblemished record for close to 10 years. Since 2004, she has been employed with the URP, and this happened in 2013, my friend. 2013, a Sunday night, when the lady is preparing a lunch and whatever she'll be carrying to work in the morning, and maybe chatting with her family and whatever the case may be, she got this phone call from the minister to this URP worker, informing her she no longer have a job. She has been fired. My friends, listen to this. As I just get background, as a result of the conflict, the worker sought and obtained a place of work at the office of the Honorable Mr. R. Indar Singh, Minister of Works in the United National Congress government. However, the minister told the worker not to return to work after she attended a prayer meeting on the 20th of October 2013 for a candidate of the People's National Movement. I not staying close to them PNM people and them, I always stay far. I stay far from all The lady attended not a fete, my friend, not a fundraiser, She attended a prayer meeting that involved a PNM candidate, my friend, coming up in one of those local elections. The court did not say, the record did not say the person was sick or what was the purpose for this prayers. But all that happened is that she attended this prayer meeting, prayer gathering, to help pray for this candidate. And Rudy Indar Singh found out and fired the lady, my friend. And Rudy Indar Singh is now in this court, this said court, passing judgment, my friends, on workers and adjudicating on matters similar to this. Let me share this with you again. This case says, this document says, that he was also in breach of ILO Convention number 158, which treats with termination of employment, states at clause 4, the employment of a worker shall not be terminated for reasons related to the worker's conduct or performance before he is provided with an opportunity to defend himself. So what they're saying here now, that Rudy Indar Singh, besides his victimization and unfair treatment and targeting the lady, he was also in breach of the ILO convention when it comes to dismissing a worker, my friend. How you go about dismissing a worker? Now, Rudy Indar Singh, we must keep in mind, is in fact and was one of the leading union leaders in this country. There's no dispute about that. His work, the work that he would have done with the Carney workers, my friends, it is well documented. And it is something I myself also mention whenever certain discussions comes up. You can't ignore that, my friends. But what I'm reading here, it is a reflection, my friends, of the man himself, the man Rudy, the way he thinks, his personality, and the kind of biasness or biases that he is walking about in this country. And now he's not just walking about, but he has been given an opportunity to sit in our industrial court as a judge to pass judgment on persons who would have the same type of issues with employers. So imagine an employer and a worker have a dispute or a grievance. And the issue here is the employer thinks that this person does be talking good about the PNM, and she get disturbed or he get disturbed and say, listen, you, and this person come to the court because of some political bias against that person, and the matter ended by Rudy endorsing. My friends, the industrial court, and as any court in this country, must not just be fair. The appearance of the court, the structure of the court is important. It is just as important as the rulings, my friend. As the ruling. We cannot have or start with the image as though the court has been compromised, the integrity of the court has been compromised. It would now be labeled a kangaroo court. And we don't want that. This is the industrial court, my friends. This court has served the people of Trinidad and Tobago, and especially the workers, my friends, where grievances and disputes are concerned. And Rudy Singh would have fought many battles for workers in this said court as a union leader for the sugar workers. So he himself must know how important it is how important it is that the integrity of this court, this industrial court, is to the people of Trinidad and Tobago and to the image of Trinidad and Tobago. So, my friends, so I'm going again. Analysis. The worker suffered verbal and physical abuse at the hand of a regional manager. On account of this said abuse, concerns for her safety, the worker sought the intervention of Mr. Rudy Nelson. So it is written in the judgment how this case came about and how this lady came to be working out of Rudy Nelson's office. So she was being verbally and physically abused by somebody, some manager in the hierarchy, and for her own safety, he did a great act by taking out of the environment, my friends. There's no question about that. But then he turned around because this lady attended a prayer meeting for one who is known as one who is a PNM. You hear that? Now listen to my friend. That man gets so angry when the word PNM, and he forgot his prayers. His prayers they go on and say. It are no prayers. All he hears is PNM. And the hatred and the bias and the nastiness, my friends, that is inside of him came out, that he couldn't restrain himself, and called that lady on a Sunday night, my friends. After the lady finished praying, call her and tell her, do not report for duty, you have been fired. Why? Because she attended a prayer session for someone who is known to be a PNM candidate or in local elections coming up sometime. My friends, you can search, I am sure, the High Court, the Hall of Justice, the records, or inside of this building here, and you will not find anything close to what you're reading here, or the action taken by it can't no two like this. What I come across, my friend, it don't have two. And all Rudy and Dalton had to do, when whoever offered him that position, my friends, he was supposed to decline and say, listen, I would serve, but not in that position. Not in that position. Because what I'm reading here, he's aware of it. He knows, but he is comfortable with himself as though this doesn't happen or didn't happen, and gone in the same court, my friends. Let me read some of the findings that the judges in this said court, what was their findings? The court therefore finds the workers' constitutional right to freedom of association, my friends, was infringed when she was dismissed for attending a prayer meeting. You only understand why I'm reading here? Trinidad and Tobago? The industrial court, the judges, found that the actions that Rudy Indarasinghe took as a minister in government, my friends, where he dismissed this lady on a Sunday night, call her on her phone and dismiss her. The court is saying here, one of the findings is that the workers' constitutional right is a right for you to associate with whoever you wish to. On top of that, it is on a Sunday, my friends. The freedom of association was infringed when she was dismissed for attending not a PNM fete, my friends, a prayer meeting. Here the next one. The worker was summarily dismissed. That be time to know. At 10 p.m. over the phone on the night of Sunday, the 20th of October, 2013, my friends. Sunday night. A phone call. And she lose her work, almost 10 years service. And what she did wrong? She went and prayed. She went to a prayer meeting. And Rudy Indarasinghe, who committed this type of wicked and evil act, my friends, has been promoted to be a judge at the industrial court, at this court here, my friends. This is the industrial court here. Yeah. So, my friends, I want to share this with you again. The worker was summarily dismissed at 10 p.m. over the phone on the night of Sunday, the 20th of October, 2013, my friend. Dismissed over the phone on a Sunday night by the Minister of Works, Rudy Indarasinghe. The worker was dismissed in a very harsh and oppressive manner. This is another thing where the court is saying that Rudy Indarasinghe dismissed the worker in a very harsh and oppressive manner. Very harsh and oppressive. So I am sharing with you, my friends, some of the reasons and the findings of the court as to why Rudy Indarasinghe should give some thought just to protect the good name of the court, the good name of the industrial court, my friends. And I'm telling you something, this court is dear to my heart, you know. This court is dear to my heart as a worker and one who would have represented workers in this country, my friends. This court. And I think when a person said that, listen, the matter is at the Ministry of Labor and it's unresolved and it's heading to the industrial court, the thought and the fear that you will not get justice must not appear because of somebody who have such a bias against a whole sector of people in this country. Because, my friends, there's a lot of people in this country who either support the PNM, they are PNM members, they like the PNM, they line with the PNM people, they go and pray with them, they live with them, and work with them. That is what he fired the lady for, you know. So the worker was dismissed in a very harsh and oppressive manner. You see them kind of words? The worker was also dismissed where without due recourse to natural justice, my friends. Well, when you breach that, when no employer could breach the rules of natural justice and expect to get away with it in this court here, my friends. You cannot, as an employer, breach the rules of natural justice. That is dictatorship. That is dictatorship, my friends. So I am here asking and pleading with Rudy and Dar Singh to please withdraw yourself from that position of being a judge at the industrial court. I am sure there are other areas that you can serve our country. You would have served, and I know you are willing to serve and continue to serve. But all we are asking is based on this judgment that the court and the appearance of the court, and the court must not start by being known as though they have no problem with persons and having the image of being a biased court, my friends. Because this is plain, you're not wondering if this is bias, and prejudicial. That's what it is. And the promotion for that kind of action, because you have been promoted, is to be a judge at the industrial court. This is the people's court. This is the workers' court, my friends. So I am once again kindly asking, and I have one of my good comrades, I said, Sister Jenny. She has agreed to come as though she has something to say. And I want to tell you all that I am pleased to have this lady at this time outside of the industrial court wanting to speak to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. So I am going to just step aside and give her an opportunity to come and speak. Jennifer, you're welcome.
I just want to say good afternoon to all those who would be listening. Again, it's always a pleasure to come and give support to a comrade of mine, Preston George, who has always been fighting the good fight for workers, especially when he was at St. Anne's Hospital, and he continues to do so. So when he told me about this situation, I said, you know what, let me come down because there's something that I saw and I want to bring back to your memory. This was in the Guardian, the 13th or the 5th month, 2025. It's a story by senior reporter Otto Carrington, and it says, Labour leaders call for Achong to be kept off the industrial court bench. It went on to say, the Labour movement is intensifying its call for the removal of industrial court judge Larry Achong, accusing him of bias and misconduct. Labour leaders say Achong compromises the credibility and fairness of Trinidad and Tobago industrial relations system. It went on. Joint Trade Union Movement JTUM President Ansel Roche and National Trade Union Center NATUC President Michael Anisette yesterday strongly condemned the recent extension of Achong's tenure, calling it a slap in the face to workers and trade unions across the country. The union leaders expressed their disappointment at the move during a news conference outside President House St. Anne's. Back then, it says last week, a cabinet note revealed that appointments of 5 judges, one of those judges is Larry Achong, I won't name the rest. It went on to say again that Roger described the decision, and that decision was the extension of Larry Achong's tenure as judge at the industrial court, as a unilateral action and disregarded the concerns of one of the country's major stakeholders in industrial relations, the trade union movement. He said this is one rule for Peter and another for Paul, Roger said, claiming that exceptions were made to benefit individuals politically aligned with the former administration. The union leader said Achong, appointed under the People's National Movement, had been accused by JTAM and NATUC of carrying out a frontal attack on trade union and workers. Roger also criticized, and it went on, the previous government and certain all that. My thing is this, he said also, the labor movement has long voiced concerns over Achong, who he claimed has been at the center of numerous controversial rulings, including, and he went on to say, including what different organizations that they felt he would have been biased against. The reason why I'm reading this and asking this is simply whether or not they were correct or not correct is not the issue for me. The issue is this. To my knowledge, the Honorable at the time, Larry Achong, he was not a known PNM. To my knowledge, he was not an employer. He did not fire an employee. An employee never took him to the industrial court and won the matter. And the judgment said that he was harsh and oppressive. It seemed here that the unions had an issue with his extension because they felt his judgment on the bench were biased. And they asked about one rule basically for Peter and one for Paul. And I am saying in that same context, is this a situation where it is not fair across the board? So it's one rule for John, Harry, Peter, and Paul, and one rule for Raj, Kumar, Singh, Hari Prasad, Maharaj. I'm asking a question. Because you cannot tell me the unions are now silent on an honorable judge in the industrial court who has been a UNC minister, who just recently during the election was on a platform with the UNC, who is now a judge in the industrial court, fired a worker when he was her employer as the Minister of Local Government, fired her on a Sunday night at 10 p.m. because he heard she went to a prayer meeting of a PNM councillor. She took the matter to the industrial court. She was awarded financial rewards because they found her firing was oppressive and harsh by the employer who was at the time a minister in the UNC government, Rudy Ndar Singh. Now today, Rudy Ndar Singh, the Honorable, is sitting on the bench of the industrial court, the same court where workers just go to get justice against employers who they deem to be harsh, oppressive, and unfair. He was deemed by this same industrial court as being harsh and oppressive against a worker in his employ. And today he sits on the bench of the industrial court to treat on matters that are going to be deemed, in most cases, harsh, unfair, and oppressive. So I'm asking, where are the union leaders today? Mr. Ansel Roger, Mr. Anisette, and all the others. Where are they? What is even Minister Elder saying? Mr. Cesar or Kazar saying? Or is it now that they sit on the bench, they sit in the office of power, that they don't care about labor no more? We out here and we own. I would have thought you would have heard those voices raised to the heavens, because if it's good for Peter, it should be good for Paul, it should be good for Harry, it should be good for Narayan, it shouldn't be good for one. Because if they were accusing Mr. Achong, the Honorable Achong, of being a PNM, he didn't fire nobody, he didn't hire nobody, and they said they found that his judgment in the court is biased or somehow compromised. What are they thinking about the Honorable Rudy Ndar Singh, who, again, I'm reiterating this fact, was an employer, was a member of a government, the UNC government, and now sits on the bench to treat it matters where workers going to come before them because the employer is alleged to have treated them one way or the other. This is not alleged in his case, you know. He was found to have been oppressive and harsh in his treatment in firing a worker under his employ because on a Sunday night, 10 p.m., he called her on his phone because he heard she went to a PNM councillor prayer meeting. So if you're not even safe to go to a prayer meeting because it's our next political party person in it, a prayer meeting, then you don't want to ask myself. So it's a good thing, probably, a lot of people didn't go to the National Day of Prayer because they may have been called a UNC and they could have been victimized somewhere, somehow. I don't know if that is the trend because, again, I'm saying I am concerned based on what my comrade read. I saw the ruling myself and I remember this article. So I just came here to let you all know that it can't be, if it was a slap in the face, the union said that Larry Achong his tenure was extended. It was a slap in the face to workers. What is this with the Honorable Rudy and Darcy now being on the industrial court bench as a judge? What is that? That is a kick and a cuff and a butt. Well, that is abuse. I don't understand it. We need to hold one standard in everything we do and not water it down to suit some. Again, I support my comment and what he's saying there because you see, he's reading from a document, He didn't just decide to come in here and stand up and talk thing, It's a court document from the same industrial court that the Honorable Indar Singh is sitting on, It is there. And what I read from is an article from the newspapers, the Guardian newspaper, back in May 2025 by senior reporter Atto Carrington. I didn't make this up. Union leaders were up in arms against Achong. Larry Achong, the Honorable Achong, because they felt that he was compromised. They felt he was biased. What do they say today? And that is the double standard of the union I'm having a problem with. I want to end by saying this. When Minister Elder was the president of CWU, Communication Workers Union, he stood up in defense of the workers at TSCT when they were retrenched, and he was right to do that. But they were retrenched. There is a retrenchment and severing, what's it called again, comrade? Retrenchment and Severing Benefit Act, where there's a process when you're retrenching because nobody can stop an employer from retrenching. But there's a process set in place how the retrenchment is done. He stood up and he spoke passionately for those 500 TSCT workers. I was happy. I said, yes, stand up. Today, as a minister, 10,500 CPEP workers went home. And when they asked him about it, our honorable minister, Elder say, collateral damage. Oh, how the union leaders have fallen. Oh, how. So workers are out here on their own with nobody. The former president of PSA, who nobody voted for, is not the minister of labor. Oh, God, tell me they say so. Who will stand up for we? Who will stand up for workers in this country as they get sent home left, right, and center? Who is the unions will stand up brave and stand up against any administration, whether PNM, UNC, whoever it is, and stand up for the rights of workers in this country? Who will do it? Or will they all become politicians? Because them is the same union leaders used to throw scorn at the politician and say them is the bourgeoisie class. And while they're eating nice, sending their children to big school, they're driving best car, best house, and they pour scorn on them. They have now become the bourgeoisie class because they are not the employers. Or they understand that. So really and truly, they wanted to be the bourgeoisie class because now that the elder say, Honorable Elder say, the CPEP workers was collateral damage. If he was a union leader, he would have never said that. He would have never said that. But things nice, things change, and they become the same bourgeoisie class. They become the employer class. They become the big money class. So they don't care about workers again. Shame on you, Minister Elder. Shame on you, Minister Caesar. Shame on you, Mr. Roger, Mr. Anisette. Where's all their voice now? Stand up for the workers and them who losing their job daily. Don't do it conveniently. Stand up in under all government. Don't just do it under one and in for one. Because workers at the end of the day and your members at the end of the day come from all different political platforms. They come from all different spiritual platforms, all socioeconomic platforms, all academic platforms. Because when you're serving the members who pay the money, it's not whether it's PNM or UNC or whether there's vote or no vote. It's about your members and the rights of members. So I say again, where is the voices of those esteemed and honorable leaders of the union movement who came out strong against the Honorable Larry Achong. When his extension was given under the PNM, they found that it was a slap in the face of workers. They felt that he compromised the bench. They found that he was biased. He was never an employer. He never fired nobody. The court never found him guilty or nothing. But here we have the honorable judge, Rudy Ndari, saying there's a whole judgment from the same industrial court what found them to be oppressive and harsh for firing a worker, for firing his worker, Sunday night, 10 p.m., because she went to a PNM councillor prayer meeting. And she won her case in this same court, which found that his actions was oppressive and harsh. Thank you all for listening.
Yes, people. Once again, you have heard it for yourself. There isn't anything much that I can add. This is the Sister Jenny that I know. As I said, we would have fought many battles together against the oppressors, no matter who you are and who in government, my friends. So, before I close, I just want to reiterate the reason why we are here is this gentleman they call Rudy Ndari Singh. My friend, that I said before, whenever union leaders and their work is being discussed in this country, Rudy Ndari Singh and the work that he did to extract from the government all that he could for the sugar workers, the county workers, my friends, you must speak about that when the books are written. But we also now cannot ignore the actions that he took against this lady, this lady, a wife, a mother, a grandmother, a nice lady, because the document says that, you know. They said the lady have an unblemished record, you know. Now we put on an unblemished record, you could get fired on a Sunday, my friends, for attending a prayer session, a prayer meeting. And the payment, my friends, for that kind of action against that European lady, my friends, is a promotion in the very court that declare you oppressive and wicked, my friends. A breach of all good industrial relations practices, my friends. Yeah, a breach of the right to be heard. Yeah, a breach, my friends. The judgment and even what the union was declaring, my friends, it is enough. It is enough for the conscience of Rudy Ndari Singh, my friends. The conscience. Even if he would have put that judgment way back and it has come to front, you are now being reminded of it. He cannot stay silent and pretend that this didn't happen. I am calling on Rudy Ndari Singh with the rest of any decent citizen of this country, particularly workers who are being fired on a daily basis in this country and will be heading to this said court. You don't want to be coming to this court and the one that is known as Rudy Ndari Singh, who fire a worker on a Sunday. My friends, it ain't no work. Sunday like a public holiday. It ain't no work. If it ain't no work, then he didn't have a say. And he take up his phone and fire the lady on a Sunday night, 10 o'clock, my friends, on the 20th of October. And he is comfortable sitting down in the industrial court, getting ready, and probably looking to pass judgment on other people, my friends. So the court, the appearance of the court, my friends, it means a lot. It means a lot to the people of Trinidad and Tobago, to the workers, and everyone who participates in this court. The image of the court is important, just as the judgment and the ruling, my friends. So we are asking Rudy Ndari Singh to do the right thing, do the honorable thing, do the decent thing, and step aside and protect the good name of the court in the process. So my friends, have a blessed evening, and thanks for allowing me and Sister Jenny to be part of your lunchtime period, your evening period. And I'm sure you're going to hear more from her. And I'm not going anywhere. So keep good, and thanks once again. Thank you. God bless.